What's going on, Fortnite fam? With the Division 1 Finals and the Reload Elite Series Qualifier 3 Finals this weekend, there was a lot of Fortnite to be played, which naturally means there are winners and, well, there are losers. I'm going to break everything you need to know down, including who qualified, who won the Division Finals, and who has a little bit of bad blood going into the Summit Land. Make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe because we got a ton to talk about, so let's get right into the mix. First up, let's talk about the Division 1 Finals. Even though I didn't stream this one myself, I kept myself locked in because I thought the implications could leak into the Major 1 Summit Land, and, well, I was a little bit correct. Before the tournament, everybody thought Cold Rapid, we're going to land Dark Dominion. That's been their drop spot. Well, unannounced, they went over towards 4 Fields, and after the tournament, they announced it as their new drop spot for the Summit Land, where Tyler and Chance would normally drop. They landed over at Dark Dominion. I'm wondering if they were the only one that got a signal, a sense of like a heads up, like, hey, we're contesting you. You can go ahead and fight us or not. It's up to you. But either way, Cold and Rapid still ended up finishing off with a top 4 in their brand new drop spot for Fields. They'll no longer be contesting Pixie over at Dark Dominion. They will be contesting an OCE team, but it's kind of up to them if they still want to contest Cold and Rapid for the drop spot, because they were contesting Tyler and Chance. Not sure how much that will change now that it is Cold and Rapid though. But in terms of who won the Division Finals, Peterbot and Pollo do it again. 440 points. It wasn't without somebody on their tail though, because Josh and Iamzo, they played absolutely phenomenal, but in the last and final game of the day, 32nd, 2 eliminations. Even though Peterbot and Pollo still ended up at 11th place in that last game, so I don't think the point differential would have been there unless they would have went down much earlier due to Josh and Iamzo. But it goes to show that Josh and Iamzo are catching fire right before that Major Summit Land, which is huge for these guys, because remember what happened. They made it through the second chance. They are going to be playing on day 2, waiting for day 1 to finish to hopefully get into the top 25 to make it to Championship Sunday. And in your top 3, Curly and Rise, you know, I go through a roller coaster of emotions with this team. You know, Rise, I kind of still looking at him as one of the best IGLs when he's dedicated and passionate. Curly, I feel like still has a lot to prove to players in the game, no matter who he's playing with, and I kind of think that mix could perform well. It's just inconsistent. They failed to make it to the Esports World Cup Finals in terms of Qualifier 3, but they're still performing well in the Divisional Finals, so I'm interested to see how they perform in Qualifier 4, Major 2, Major 3, with everything still leading to the Global Championship later that year. I said Cold and Rapid are going to get 4th. We got Muzz and Sphinx in 5th place. They still managed to get a victory royale, but a 43rd. They got ahead and didn't really get many points in that game, just 2 eliminations. Again, a 14th with a 9th place. They're just kind of in the mix, but not in that top 5 consistently placing in these games to give them a huge shot to win it all. Clicks and Higgs, 6th place overall, but it didn't come without its own, well, storyline. In the last and final game of the day, Clicks and Higgs looked like from Wonky Land, they were trying to key towards Squibbly Shores over towards Peterbot and Pollo. Unfortunately, they didn't run into one team, they ran into 2 separate teams along the way, and each and every one of those fights, they did win them, but they were kind of frustrated that it wasn't Peterbot and Pollo until they finally saw the Surge Tower over at Squibbly. And by that time, Josh and Iamzo, the team in 2nd place that's been going head-to-head with Peterbot and Pollo in some of these tournaments, had went down. So even if they were to take down Peterbot and Pollo, there wouldn't really be any team to truly catch up in that last and final game. So that's going to end them in 6th place. We got Scare and OCID for our top 7, Shadow and Virgo, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, in our top 8. 9th and 10th is going to be Visual Braids and Jargu and Carillion. We got some Summit Land teams in that mix, some non-Summit Land teams in that mix, but that's going to be the Division Finals for NA Central. Let me know what you guys think about what happened this past weekend leading into the Summit Land. Just a quick mention about NA West in the Divisional Finals. Again, the few streams that I missed, we had Epic Well and Pump win the entire tournament, even while being contested in that last game. They always seem to be contested when it comes to the 6th and final game or throughout the tournament, but they still pulled off a win. Vorks and Dark in 2nd place, 300 314 points. 6Cs and OC on 279. Salco and Larcos 263, beating out Chris and Zyro by 1 point in the top 5. And then you had Pollo and Rise. Not as many games as everybody else. They only played out 4 games because they were playing in Central, of course, but they end up top 6. Another Central team of Ritual and Rapid. Again, only 4 games played, but they go ahead and round out the top 7. I love when these Central players kind of enter over into NA West because I think it makes these NA West players try harder, whether it's individual battles, mid-game, or end-game. I feel like they have to think more about their decisions because Central players are so punishing when they catch players making a mistake. But that's going to be NA West. If there's any underdogs that you want me to look at for NA West leading into next divisional finals and the last qualifier for Esports World Cup, let me know in the comments below. On to the star of the show, the qualifier for the Reload Elite Series, the 3rd out of 4 overall. So there is going to be one more after you guys see today's results. But man, this one was definitely interesting. I, of course, got the pleasure to cast it all with Taco this time around on the FNCS Fortnite broadcast. Let me know if you guys seen me there. But Peterbot and Pollo started off big with a win. 6 eliminations. Goes to show that they were on fire. And then they backed it up with a 2nd place. Another 2nd place with 4 eliminations in each of those respective games. Going to show that, hey, they may have barely made it in through heats. If you guys saw that one, it was 8 points between them and not making it into this final, but all you need is a chance. That's what I'm always telling people. If you just get a chance to reach these finals lobbies, anything is possible. And Peterbot and Pollo just absolutely dominated throughout the competition with consistency, but they didn't dominate everybody. One team was quite on their heels and even beat them 2-1 in different fights, and that's Josh and Iyamzo. They too started off decently well. A 2nd place, 9 eliminations. Again, they did lose that battle against Peterbot and Pollo in the end, and then they kind of fell flat. 15th place, 0 eliminations, and I think that's when something kind of clicked for them. They won the game. They 3rd, 8th, 10th, 3rd, and then 1st. 2 of their wins, it was a 1v1 against Pollo. Josh had his opportunity and Iyamzo had his opportunity. Well, my favorite one was this.
Sacrifice, but Josh and Iyamzo still left alive. They're the only duo, but I said that loosely. I might have cursed them because Iyamzo will go down next. It's all solos left alive. Peterbot up above. Josh going head-to-head down below, but he doesn't want to take the 1v1. He wants to take the high ground up against Pollo, forces him to interact with Clicks. Pollo gets that elimination. Now it's a 1v1. Josh versus Pollo, the superstar versus the future here for the game win, but Pollo lands a big shot, but Josh is that much bigger. They take the game out of their hands.
I like the way I phrased that as well, the superstar versus the future. Let me know what you guys think about my commentary below, because I mean, I do try my hardest, but in 3rd place, Cold and Rapid, again, they don't really get too many wins throughout the Reload Elite Series. This is a team that just drops nukes. They drop eliminations, they take over games, and they're just consistent throughout it all. 371 points. They kind of fell short in terms of consistency. Their worst game was a 14th place with 9 eliminations. They didn't have very many games inside of the top 5. They did have a 5th, they did have a 2nd, but inside of the top 5 is where you get those bonus points where it's 5 points per placement. Again, they did have a 4th place with 9 eliminations to kind of close out the day, but those are going to be our top 3. Each of those teams have already qualified for the Esports World Cup. And as we look down that leaderboard, we got our first team to qualify, and that is going to be Shadow and Virgo. They didn't drop nukes at all. They were just consistent as can be. 4th place. They had 11th and a 10th where they kind of fell down a little bit, but they got right back up. A 3rd place, 7th, 5th, and 9th. They dropped 25 eliminations, so again, not a high-scoring elimination game. They play more towards consistency, but I think that's how a set finals lobby on LAN will play out when it comes to Esports World Cup. And the 2nd team to qualifying came with a ton of drama is going to be Aoxy and Jojo Fishy, and I don't think anybody saw them coming in and playing as well as they did. Just like I talked about some of those other teams, a 3rd place to start the day, a 5th, and a 6th. They were consistent, and then their worst game of the day came right after that 6th place with 17th, and then they even got a win. But again, it didn't come without drama because Agers and Ritual landing center map, well, I say that loosely, loosely because Agers was off kind of trying to key Aoxy and Jojo Fishy for a good portion of the game. The way reload works, if you are uncontested, you do have the ability to send one player out and try to get eliminations, because if he goes down, you'll just get rebooted right over your uncontested drop. Well, Clix and Higgs saw that happening, and if they wanted to make a play for first, they needed the teams in line to go down, which included Shadow and Virgo, Aoxy and Jojo Fishy, and Agers and Ritual themselves. Well, in the last game, Clix and Higgs went over to Chiseled where they landed. They keyed Ritual, who was a solo. They took him down, and then while Agers was trying to fight Aoxy and Jojo Fishy, he got taken down as well, which eliminated Agers and Ritual out of the game, and they were in 6th place. They were in line. They were coming back in the 6th game, in the 7th game, really giving themselves a shot in the final game of the day, but unfortunately they got keyed, and that led to some kind of bad blood between Agers, Ritual, Clix, and Higgs, basically saying it was a stupid play, because now with 2 spots left in qualifier 4, you got Agers and Ritual, Acorn and Bolts, and Clix and Higgs, and plenty other teams as well, like Reet and Cooper, Hobby and Aminish. But it just goes to show, if Agers and Ritual would have qualified, in theory it would have made it a little bit easier, but now there are so many big teams going into that last qualifier, Shadow and Virgo, that earned their spot through this time Central qualifier in number 3. And let me know what you guys think about who qualified. Let me know what you guys think about the drama that's going down, because I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. Just a quick shout out to NA West. I got to broadcast this one, and everybody who showed up on the YouTube and the Twitch stream, shout out to you guys. It was probably one of my highest viewed streams in a while. The support has been insane, so I want to give a huge shout out to the NA West region, where Victor V and Kanata not only won FNCS Major 1 in NA West, but they also won the Reload Elite Series Qualifier 3, and it didn't come without its own interesting kind of part of the game. They did have a lead going into last and final game, but they did have Zaire and Bader on their heels. I don't know that second guy's name exactly, please forgive me, but they were on their heels until, well, they eventually went down. Victor V, ever since forming with Kanata, and even Art kind of before that, has been playing absolutely on another level. I almost want to give Paper a little bit of shout out, because I feel like he started bringing the best out of Victor V, along with Pops, of course, who's been his #1 supporter. But I don't know, it's just been a whole different beast watching Victor V kind of play with Kanata. Even when Kanata goes down, I feel like I'm watching like a mini Peterbot type thing, a mini Pollo, mini Higgs situation, where you can have full confidence on Victor V on NA West to clutch out some games. In 2nd place, Source and Convict barely fell short of the mark. School and Icy barely fell short of the mark, but Source and Convict, as I kind of said, and moved on to 3rd place, they had a chance to win in the last and final game with Victor V and Kanata going down. They just needed to play perfect. They needed every single elimination at a certain point, and they needed to win the game. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where they saw themselves on the leaderboard. They had high ground. They didn't get aggressive. They didn't get elims, but again, they still got 2nd place. Huge shout out to Source and Convict. I've been watching them on NA West for a long time. I want to see them continue to perform well, and we got 1 spot left for the Esports World Cup in qualifier 4. This one is definitely going to be interesting, because we don't have Epic Whale and Pump, we don't have Baka and Pars, we don't have Ark, who's teamed up with BG and probably a whole nother player, Blood Gangsta, by the way. I say BG because it's much easier when casting, so I'm interested to see who grabs that last spot. Let me know who you guys think on NA West is going to be the last team to qualify. But that's going to do it from today's video, from the division finals to the Esports World Cup qualifiers, from NA West to NA Central. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who are the best teams going into the Summit Land? Stay tuned, because we're going to have a much bigger video breaking that one down, who we think will qualify to the finals on Sunday, and maybe we'll dive deeper into a top 10 predictions. Who knows? I never like to go that deep, because I never like to stick my own foot in my mouth being wrong, but I've been quite right on the personal streams. But thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Beep beep.